Hey there, how's it going? If you're a junior military officer, perhaps still in a training pipeline, then this is just what you're looking for. Regardless of whether or not you're a line or staff corps, if you don't have connections in the system already with respect to a family member or friend who's already walked ahead of you, then I'm about to become your guide on a journey through a dark, smoky theater of operations. If you're already well connected, knowing the insights to the military officer promotion system, the DoD medical system, and the ways of the bureaucracy, great for you. Share your knowledge with your team. Knowing that it's unlikely that you'll do so, that creates competition with you, doesn't it? I'm going to bridge that gap for those not as privileged, those coming from families without prior commissioned officers. For those patriots, we'll ensure your navigation charts are accurate and your path clear, setting you up to navigate the treacherous waters all the way to port, and allow you a fighting chance against those military children and officers who will never share their secrets with you. Welcome to the Commissioned Officers Guide, a forum where commissioned officers of all ranks and pay grades are welcome to join my circle and contribute to an open dialogue about the important topics that are typically not discussed in wardrooms around the fleet and during staff assignments ashore. I'm your guide, Jared H. Smith. As a commander in the U.S. Navy, experienced in active duty for 16 years now, I found through the course of my time in service that learning the system is more difficult than it should be, and I'm doing something about that challenge now. It's important to note that the views expressed herein don't reflect the official policy or position of the United States Navy, the Department of Defense, or the U.S. government. With that said, we're not going to bother with Navy commander covers here either, so I'm going to set that aside. Call me Jared, and I'll refer to you by your first name too. It's going to follow in this series and be made available throughout my Commissioned Officers Guide programs will become your key to having a fighting chance, both in the system and far beyond. So, we're going to set aside this cover and focus on this hat. The superpower is coming from the fedora. It is the 20s, you know, so get you one. The forthcoming discussions will not focus exclusively on your military career professionally, but about how your military career, whether that's 5 years and out after your initial service obligation, or after 35 plus years of service following in your parents' footsteps, prepares you for a life of liberty and freedom. Once you return to the capitalistic economy and the democratic republic you're risking your life to defend. Make no mistake, the work we do is dangerous, and the oath taken obligates you to kill people and break things in order to do so, and to support that end no matter your functional assignment. It's an authoritarian-leaning organization, and democracy does not apply. You gave up those rights, and UCMJ proves that. Additionally, your mindset, in fact your psychology, was changed during your basic training and commissioning pipelines, and throughout the training you're undergoing during preparations for that first assignment. You'll have to overcome that mindset to reintegrate easily into society. Before we begin, note a metric. The share of the U.S. population with military experience is declining. In 2016, only 7% of U.S. adults were veterans, down from 18% in 1980, according to the Census Bureau. You are very likely to be an outsider upon return to society. To succeed, you must plan and be informed during the planning. The Commissioned Officer's Guide exists to inform you, so you may then, in turn, inform your people. Don't let them down. Are you aware that as of 2020, 22 military veterans a day realize that they're lacking purpose and no longer believe they need to hang around to participate in life? It's an atrocious number, and one that we must change. So the Commissioned Officer's Guide exists to prompt you to begin thinking about your transition battle and puts it in the form of the readiness cycle that all operational forces go through. We'll begin with your transition pre-deployment preparations and workups, equipping you with the tools and skills you need for each little t transition concerning your current and next duty assignments, FITREPs, medical care early on in your career, and then move on to your big T transition preparations, when you'll toss aside the rank and get out of the tank, ship, or plane after a vicious transition battle, which you should anticipate. That anticipation should very well begin now. Once your preparations and workups are complete, you'll be ready for your transition mission, which will lead into your transition battle. Don't get ambushed. We all leave the service one day, just like we all die and we'll all pay taxes. I exist to help you make informed decisions about your professional career and your personal life. Bypass the opportunity at your peril. Navigate over to jaredhsmith.com/o and jaredhsmith.org/the Commissioned Officer's Guide, where you'll find many resources and my approach to your inevitable transition out of uniform service and how each of your FITREPs connect to that objective, returning to society a healthy, influential, and wealthy contributing member. Don't be a drain on the country. Instead, enhance our nation after service. I need you thinking about the people you're leading too, as they're all getting their liberty, opportunity, and freedom event, as they too will enter back into our democratic republic at some point, likely soon. It all ties together. To kick off this journey, I've heard many young junior military officers are in the dark about their FITREPs. This is an important first consideration, and we'll upskill you with the tools and information you need in order to have a fighting chance in the promotion bureaucracy. Be advised that, in the Navy anyways, changes are coming. But for now, what follows outlines the system you're currently in. For the Army, Air Force, and Marine Corps officers who are still with us, I'm recruiting senior officers from your ranks to do the same. What follows here is for the Navy team only. But fast forward to the end and you can get the information you need to get smart on many other areas of military service that you may not know about today. And I want to take care of you too. The first step to prepare for your annual FITREP, known as the Fitness Report in the U.S. Navy, is to track your professional accomplishments. One method is using a CV, which is used by professionals typically in academia as well as fields such as the medical community or law. Another is using the typical resume of the 20th century approach. Another, which I found most useful within this past year or so, is to break your year up into single quarter sprints and just grab what you've done during that quarter and use LinkedIn to talk about that stuff. Everybody likes a good story, so I took and started using my LinkedIn profile to capture what it is I'm up to. So it keeps everybody in my network aware of what's going on. So you can see here are all the different assignments I've had throughout the U.S. Navy and how I've gone in and wrote about those here. And LinkedIn's a great platform to begin learning how to use early in your career, because you never know when you might have to get out of the service. But again, you can list in your LinkedIn profile all the different work that you're involved in, and then that will also allow you to begin learning how to use this weapons platform for your inevitable transition out into the economy. So that's enough for LinkedIn. If you want to check me out, you can head on over there and take a deeper look at that. Follow my lead there if you like. It's one good option. But like I was saying, always keep in mind that you are right this moment on transition pre-deployment preparations and workups, and everything you do ought to keep that in mind, both the big T transition and the little t transition. Really what I want to do here is to allow you to avoid the mistakes that I've made and the regrets resulting from those mistakes throughout my military career. That's the purpose for these efforts. Your accomplishment list will do a number of things for you as it pertains to the FITREP. You're logging these accomplishments in order to fill out your Block 41, which is on page 2 of the NAV-PERS FITREP form. If you don't write down what it is you're doing from quarter to quarter, you may have a really hard time remembering relevant accomplishments to fill that block up with. Here's my first instant FITREP, which I will pull over for you to take a glance at. And I'll show you here. It's from the training pipeline, right? And you've got not a whole lot to show here, but basically we'll go through the basics. All this basic stuff up here in the top third will be pretty standard. A lot of this information you'll get from your admin team at your assignment. The command employment and command achievements will be filled out by your admin team. That's a standard. The Block 29 is up to you. Most training commands will put student here if you're a student, and then they'll place in the name of the school, the course number, and the number of weeks. And then it'll tell you also before or after when you attend to before arriving at the assignment in order to account for the dates where you were not at the command. Sometimes at a training command, they will give you performance traits, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. And these performance traits are on the bottom half of the first page and the top third of the second page of the FITREP. So I'm going to run through my first 3 FITREPs and see if you can point out any of the mistakes that I made with mine. This is my second training FITREP. You can see here in my supply corps school, the only trait they gave us was on military bearing and character, and I got to meet standards. And you'll notice that on the back, this trait was given in order for the commander who is writing this FITREP to manage his reporting senior cumulative average, which is known as the RSCA for ensigns. So he probably had some marks previously in his career where he had managed ensigns, and he needed to do what's called drive down his RSCA. But we'll talk more about the RSCA in a minute. And here's my first operational assignment FITREP. And man, it was a doozy. Now this here was not on the FITREP itself. That's my ad. But I tell you, it was I didn't know a whole lot, and I'm going to help you guys learn so that you don't experience the same trouble. Before that first FITREP comes up, you're going to want to determine your reporting senior's cumulative average, known as the RSCA, as previously mentioned. There are a couple of ways to find it. A previous officer's performance summary report, it's available there. They'll be able to see what your RSCA for your current rank is. The second way to figure out what their RSCA is to visit your command admin, though they're typically not going to release it to you. In small commands, you can go ask your senior directly, and they may not give it to you either. So you're going to be best off to find a peer that has worked for that commanding officer in that assignment within a year or two of you getting your FITREP from that officer, in order to ask them what that officer's reporting senior cumulative average, the RSCA, is. Now, I'll assume that you're familiar with the FITREP layout and all the fields within the NAVPERS Form 1610-2. That's what we just looked at. If not, go Google it and watch content about the NAVPERS Form 1610-2. Once you're comfortable, return here and follow along as I link the fitness report to the discussion about the performance summary report, the PSR. And this is important. This is the real skinny on what you need to know with regards to your FITREPs and what your FITREPs are telling promotion boards about you. All right, before we begin, go ahead and print a copy of your PSR and a Navy FITREP from online. So go grab a general performance summary report and a Navy FITREP from the internet. Print it out and then have it there at your table so you can take notes as we go. Because this is interactive. If I'm just the one doing the talking and you're not writing down notes, you're never going to remember everything it is that I'm trying to train you on. And you need to learn this, one, for yourself, and two, for the junior officers you're going to be leading in the future. All right, so now we're going to take an overview of Performance Summary Report, the PSR, which is a compilation of your fitness reports. Each row of the PSR corresponds to an individual FITREP from your time in service. The board views this document along with a few other during the boards. This document rolls up elements from your FITREP fields so the board members can identify trends. Okay, so you can see here, this is the performance summary report. And this is a fabricated record for training use only, as you can see here. It is a compilation of your fitness reports. So each row represents one fitness report from your time in service. For the young officers out there, you're going to either have a blank one right now or one from a previous FITREP that you had at your first training assignment. So the board views this document along with a few others during boards. The PSR rolls up elements from your FITREP fields so the board members can identify trends. Trends are what you must control to remain competitive against your competition in your line or staff corps designator. So you can see here, and I'm going to show you one of my personal PSRs. There you go. Now, I began as a student in my first training assignment in the duty column field, and it aligns with field 29 right here, field 29 on the FITREP. You see? Another note while we're on the FITREP, you want to try to fill out this description for block 29 as much as possible. Early on during your training command assignments, the administration there is going to fill it in for you. But once you get to your first operational assignment and then follow on staff assignments, fill this up with primary, collateral, and watchstanding duties, right? The less white space, the better on a lot of this stuff. So make sure that you are capturing the good work that you are doing. Now, we're going to stay here on the FITREP, and we're going to go down and look at the performance traits block. That's all of this performance traits section, the first half of page 1, along with the top third of page 2. And the performance traits range from blocks 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, all the way to 39. That's your performance traits section. You can see across the top header row of the performance traits section are marks of 1.0 through 5.0. So FITREP blocks 33 through 39 correspond to the traits column of your PSR, which is right here. Traits column of your PSR. Marks of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So these traits, the quantity, the numbers assigned to these traits, dictate the calculations within the averages column of the PSR, which is right here, just right of center on your performance summary record. So all of these marks here are going to calculate these two numbers right here, for the most part, depending on your competition or not. We'll get into that a little bit later in the training. These fields will determine board decisions at the outset of promotion board selection. These fields are very important for your administrative and statutory boards. For your admin boards, they're not as restrictive in how they're held as statutory boards are. As statutory boards are governed by law for promotions to occur. Now, I'm not going to explicitly state for you what every block is on your FITREP. You can read about that on your own. If you'd like, you can pause and read those now. What I am going to focus on is the awarded traits and how these roll up into your PSR for board consideration, because all these traits that they're marking you off here for are all going to roll into calculating the member trait average right here on your FITREP. And then this member trait average, as well as the summary group average, it's called MTA and SGA. Both the MTA and the SGA calculations appear under this averages column of your performance summary record. So individual average, summary group average, and then the reporting senior cumulative average, the RSCA, right there on every single FITREP row of the PSR. So let me be clear. This is the number of total reports written by this commander right here during his entire career. This commander had written 31 reports for ensigns by this time during his career. And this one here had written 31 as well. Different commanding officer, but he also had written 31 reports on ensigns at the time that my FITREP was written during his career. Okay? Now, don't be fooled by the descriptors for your performance traits from 1 through 5. Below standards, progressing, meets standards, above standards, greatly exceeds standards. Every designator community has their own language and the, quote, signals, unquote, to the boards on what a specific trait grade 3.0 versus 5.0, for example, means. And this is why it is important for you to find mentors in your designator and community that you trust in order to gain insights into the subsystem that you're competing within. I'm speaking generally from a naval officer perspective, even though I am in the supply corps, and the supply corps has its own language as well. But I won't go into what our specific language is because it's probably not the same that the submarine community uses or the aviation community uses or even the medical service corps community uses. They're all going to be different. So you're going to have to get smart in your specific arena in order to make your record and establish a record that'll compete well on promotion boards. Now, I'll give you an example. Block 33. This here is block 33. Sorry, I've cut these off, but this is block 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. All right? It's professional expertise. And essentially, you get a 4.0, perhaps if you're board eligible, and a 5.0 if you're board certified. Like, no problem with you. You know, you need to be wearing the next rank already, basically. Generally, you always give yourself max points on the leader performance traits, especially. And the leader performance trait is on leadership back here. The services want leaders, right? You're in the officer corps because you're going to be a leader. And typically, it's going to be a red flag on you if you don't have at least a 4.0 in the leadership trait average or higher. So never mark yourself as a 3.0 or below on leadership. You're always going to want to put yourself at a 4.0 minimum or higher on leadership. So most likely your tactical performance won't be observed early on until you get to your first operational assignment. And even early on in your first operational tour, you may get a knob if you didn't get a chance to demonstrate tactical performance until you maybe get out to sea or get out to the operational environment. It especially goes for the staff corps officers. In a couple of my operational assignments, I got knobs on tactical performance because I was not working the watch floor or doing anything like that, like on the carrier, for example. So you'll want to have this discussion early on to make sure you know whether or not you're getting a knob or getting graded for tactical performance. All right, so what's going to follow here is the meat of this discussion on the performance summary records. The averages column calculations, which you'll see right here. You want to make every effort to get scores placing you above the reporting senior's cumulative average. So let me give you an example. Right here, my individual summary, my individual grade and my summary group average was 3.0, both for 3.0 for this particular FITREP right here, 3.0 and 3.0. Okay, that results from me getting a bunch of non-observes with one 3.0 grade, right? So one 3.0 grade, one 3.0 trait divided by one trait, right, gives me a 3.0 average. So that should make sense. They get more complicated than that later on. So as you can see here, the reporting senior cumulative average is 2.94, and I got above his average. That's good. You want to get above, and not only do you want to get above the reporting senior's cumulative average, you want an increasing trend moving away from that reporting senior's cumulative average. So let me show you here. As you can see in my first operational assignment, I was brand new. The CO was in need of doing whatever he needed to do, and I got well below his average. This may have impacted me whenever I went for an admin board to get an internship for my next assignment, and I did not get selected on the intern board. And I'm thinking that this FITREP may have been why. I didn't know any difference at the time, but looking back, I would have fought for something closer to his reporting senior cumulative average. Maybe I've tried to get a 3.3 or a 3.21 across my trade averages in order to drive that up. So we're going to navigate back to this first submarine tour FITREP so I can show you what happened here. So I got a 4 for professional expertise, 3.0s for command, org, climate, military bearing, and teamwork, and then a 4.0 on mission accomplishment. And he gave me a 3.0 on leadership. So perhaps, given what I know now, maybe that was a message at the time and to the board concerning my leadership ability for the first 3 months at his command. And then, like I said, I had no tactical experience at that point, and therefore he did not give me a tactical grade. You also note all this white space on this FITREP. That's not good. You want to, again, be writing down your accomplishments and things that you've done during the previous time since your last FITREP so that you can fill this up. White space doesn't help you much, so you want to make sure you're capturing relevant accomplishments and then documenting those here as you send it up the chain for signature during your time in command, time on assignments. Also note that for O1s and O2s, there is no other option but for being promotable, right? You can't get MPs or MPs as O1s and O2s. You'll just get Ps, right? Or less. less is authorized as well. Don't get less. If you get less, you have shot yourself in the foot for promotion opportunity. So you're shooting for promotables with respect to FITREPs at the O1 and O2 rank. Okay? All right, for block 40 on your fitness report, you're going to want to write down 2 future assignment recommendations that are consistent with your next rank and your desired career path in military service. These can be written on your PSR during boards as well. Know where the next 1 or 2 positions you want to be assigned while in the service, and then hopefully you'll be keeping in mind that big T transition preparations that we discussed early on. Because remember, we're all getting out one day. So you're not going to want to put assignments like Major Command or 05 commanding officer positions while you're junior. Assignments such as department head on a small boy or division officer on a large deck works fine. It's a small reach, but not a big leap, to show you're driving for increased responsibility and status in the force. So now we'll move on to block 41. And you see, with block 41, comments on performance. So I discussed this briefly earlier, just a little bit. And everybody focuses a lot on the narrative. But for your career progression in military service, this block 41 is not the end-all be-all. The numbers that we discussed previously are much more important early on. Realize that the audience for the narrative are board members assigned to review your record and pull it from data and information for your promotion. You're actually going to have an officer that's advocating for you to be selected. You need to equip that officer with information that'll help him do that. So this is kind of how the boards work. Each individual officer on the board is assigned a stack of records, and two of those officers will be reviewing your record and reading the narrative, right? Reading it to themselves. They're going to pull from that narrative aspects of it that will appear on your PSR. Let me get back to that. Okay, so basically on this PSR, they're going to be writing in print, typed print, some different things that will look sort of like this, right? So they're going to make notes from your FITREPs about things you have done. All right. Another tip is you want to make sure from FITREP to FITREP that you don't have any gaps. Whereas, for example, maybe that 12-12-03 to 12-13-03, maybe instead of 13, it said 12-14-03, right? And then you're missing a day in your fitness report continuity. That's bad. You never want to miss continuity in your FITREP. So you need to make sure that your previous FITREP aligns with the next FITREP concerning your dates. Like right here, gap happened for whatever reason of a week, and you want to get that fixed through an administrative change request well ahead of a board event. All right, so again, they'll have marks on here pulling phrases from your block 41 in order to say, hey, this guy, this CO really thought a lot about this officer, And this gal really needs, really needs to be part of this selection group. So what you want for that are nice, easily digestible bullets to catch attention that'll prompt the reviewer to place those notes on your performance summary record. Ensure your favorite points are easy to read. The standard Block 41 narrative has a short opening statement also up here at the top. And then you don't really want to leave the white space, but you want it nice and easy to read. Perhaps you would have, maybe a space here, and then before your concluding comments, maybe a space between that. Most of the time, your content from the body in the middle is not going to be used for the PSR. Typically, the bullets that are on this opening and closing headers are going to be pulled in and used. And typically the stuff in the middle is going to be for other records management information that we will talk about at a later date. But you need verbiage in here that supports you getting the different points that you want to make in your record. There's stuff that you're going to want to write down in here that'll substantiate your request for different types of things to go in your record, and we'll talk about all that stuff later down the road. All right, when the promotion boards are looking at your records, they're going to mark it up, kind of like you saw on my report earlier. Okay, so this is a rough version, but they're going to put breaks between your command locations. They're going to give you ups and downs with regards to your individual and summary group averages and how that compares to the reporting senior cumulative average. And what you want here is always to be moving to the right. And when I say moving to the right, that means for your promotion recommendation, you always want to be moving to the right. You can see here, I never did get a must promote as a lieutenant. I went straight to EP, and I stayed in the EP category my entire time, and that's one of the main reasons why I wound up promoting to 04 right on time. What really helped me was having competition at least once. And you see, I had all this time in here without any what's called hard competition. So you want to try to get to commands that allow you to get hard competition and break out, so to speak. So you can see right here that I didn't have any competition. Had my first tour on the carrier, and then by the next year, 2 other lieutenants had shown up, and I just happened to be the top dog at that point, and therefore I got the breakout. And because I got that breakout, they actually cut my tour there short and sent me on to Naval Postgraduate School for my junior war college experience. On the backside, there's some better examples. Trim's a little better. You can see here what's called caught in traffic or timing. With regards to me and the low man on the totem pole, had 2 officers ahead of me that I was competing against, and then one of them left, 2 of us remained, and I still stayed caught in traffic, so to speak. And then he left without any replacement behind him, and I was all that was left. But you can see I kept trending to the right. I was moving to the right, kept increasing my promotion recommendation, and then stayed. And you can see here that I jumped straight at sub-pack. I jumped straight from being in traffic and timing to top dog, but I lost all my competition once again. And that's just a matter of it happened. I mean, there's nothing I could do about that, and you just got to work with it best you can. So you can see over here, I started out below the reporting seniors average at a 4.0 under a 4.17, and then I moved up to above his average at a 4.33 over a 4.23. And then you can see here that I stayed at the 4.33 over the 4.27, which wasn't great. Typically you want this to go up as your promotion recommendation goes up too. Had a little hiccup here I'll tell you guys about one day on why that happened. And then the new commanding officer came in and wanted to set his reporting senior cumulative average fairly low, so he set it at 3.5, and that is what it is. But there was a break here between COs, and that's shown here and it'll be shown on your board. So down here at my submarine force Pacific fleet assignment, you can see that I had a 4.0 and a 4.47, and then I immediately jumped to a 5.0 with an early promotion recommendation, and I had a great team there. That was a fantastic assignment. I did really well and wound up picking up 0.5, basically a year early because of that work, and because of the team there. They were amazing. All right, so that's going to do it for today. Make sure you give yourself a fighting chance with regards to this FITREP business, because it can sink you quicker than you know, and I don't want to see that for you. So you want to make sure that you try to position yourself, do good work, so you can position yourself to get great marks and good write-ups and remain competitive for promotion opportunity. Even if you're planning on getting out after your initial tour, leave the opportunity open to where if the economy turns or things don't go like you think they will and you want to stay in the service, you can hang around. Never hurts to have good paper. And what's more important are the relationships by which those papers are written. So, do great work and ask for insights. Again, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like this post and share with others you think the benefit deserve to be in the know. Also, you can check out my website, www.jaredhsmith.com/o, to learn more about my background and how I might advise you professionally and personally. There's also links to my Facebook and LinkedIn pages, and you can sign up for my newsletter and other offerings as it pertains to health and status and wealth in the U.S. Military Commissioned Officer Service. So if you'd like to contact me, please leave a comment or locate my email address in the DoD 411 directory. Thanks for listening, and remember, it's your career, and the Commissioned Officer's Guide is here to boost your transition pre-deployment preparations before your transition mission and the ensuing transition battle begins. We'll celebrate a grand victory once you get your liberty and freedom back in our democratic republic that you're spending the premier years of your lives defending. Heck yeah, now circle up.